Welcome back. Before the break, we discussed how Republicans are reportedly getting a little worried about moving forward with their agenda. And we are talking about some seriously big-ticket items here. Health care, of course, tax reform, and job creation, not to mention infrastructure spending. So are Republicans truly nervous? Well, let me ask one of them right now. I've got a specimen in my grasp. It's Kentucky Republican Congressman Thomas Massie. Welcome back, Congressman.
Hey, how you doing, Kennedy?
I am intrigued and, like you, a little bit nervous about all the goings-on in Washington, D.C. Tell me about your view from the ground.
Well, up here in D.C., I've witnessed the Democrats deploy all of their weapons of mass distraction. I mean, we've got them going off everywhere. And Trump's battling the deep swamp up here. As you see people who were in the administration before and will be in the administration after trying to undermine his agenda. And I think, Kennedy, what the Democrats are really terrified of is that Trump will succeed, that he will submit a tax plan to Congress that's not revenue neutral, but actually cuts taxes and stimulates the economy. If we see our economy come back for the first time in 17 years, then Trump is going to win re-election. It's that simple. People vote with their wallets, and the Democrats are terrified that Trump will bring our economy back from the precipice.
Well, it's interesting because one of the things that I've actually heard is Democrats are slowing themselves down a little bit because if they are successful in dethroning this president, then they'll have a more effective president in Mike Pence, who obviously has better relationships and, you know, is more of an establishment politician who will work the system quite differently and more efficiently, which thwarts Democratic resistance. But I want to ask you about a good friend of yours, one of your colleagues, Representative Justin Amash from Michigan. He basically said, according to Mediaite, he gave a quote to reporters that if the contents of the Comey memo are in fact true, that may be ground for impeachment. Do you agree with that statement?
You know, I don't. I just talked to my buddy, Justin Amash, on the floor of the House there, and he qualified his statement, if it's true, right? Yeah. So what we're talking about here is a verbal conveyance of an alleged memo from an unnamed associate of somebody who could be described right now as a disgruntled former employee of the administration, right? Reported through a biased news source. So, you know, that's what you have that on one side, and then you have the official White House statement on the other. I'm going to go with the official White House statement until we get more facts on the table. And speaking of more facts, Kennedy, we've just announced the Oversight Committee, on which I serve, is going to have a hearing next Wednesday on the FBI's independence. So, and in fact, James Comey has been invited by our chairman, Jason Chaffetz, to attend that hearing. That could be a very revealing hearing. Do you think he will attend? Does he have to be compelled? How will you get him to actually show up? Because there are a lot of people not only on your committee, but a lot of voters out there who are very concerned and have a lot of questions they would like to see answered. How do you get him to show up? Well, we have the power of subpoena in the Oversight Committee. That's one of the unique things about the Oversight Committee. But I doubt that will be necessary. I really think there's a high chance, a good chance, that James Comey will want to attend. He's conveyed, at least through intermediaries, that he's interested in testifying in a formal setting. Yeah, and so, do you think, is there a chance, and what is the feeling among some of your Republican counterparts? Do you think the former FBI director is lying? I don't want to say that, but let me say this, Kennedy. I wish he were as diligent transcribing Hillary Clinton's interview with the FBI before he decided not to prosecute her, as he has been allegedly in trying to transcribe his conversations with his boss. Literally, when he interviewed Hillary Clinton, he made sure there was no transcript and no recording of the interview. We found that out, much to our frustration, in the Oversight Committee last summer. And so hopefully, you know, he'll he'll be forthcoming, but you have to question, why was he going back and transcribing his conversations with the President of the United States? And if he did think there was something, illegitimate, he was under a legal obligation. If he thought there was evidence of a crime there, he was legally obligated to submit that to the Department of Justice, which, as far as I know, he did not. So those are some of the questions I think we will ask. We've got a great committee there. And by the way, I know this sounds a little bit corny, but if you have viewers who want questions asked of James Comey, go to my Facebook page, Congressman Thomas Massie, the official page, and post your questions there. I'll put a thread up where they can post questions.
I think that's a great idea, and that's one of the things that you and Congressman Amash have done very well, is utilize social media to not only explain votes, but allow for voter interaction. And I guarantee you, knowing some of the people and having met them in your office, they will go through those questions. And I wouldn't be surprised to see some of them asked and hopefully answered. Congressman, thank you so much for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Kennedy.